And speaking of fun events, we're going to move on to our next event. We have League of Legends Mid-Season Invitational, the MSI, coming up. The official draw where teams got to pick who they're lining up happened this past weekend, and we're going to show you a little bit of what happened there, who's fighting who's playing who. So here's a quick rundown of the MSI 2044 primer, everything you need to know about what the Mid-Season Invitational is. Nick, if you're capable, can you run us through this information? Because you are our current League of Legends expert.
All right, so basically, out of all the big regions, just like we talked about last week, right? It's going to be 2 spots per big region. That's going to be Korea, China, North America, and Europe, right? And then we have all the other places, the other regions that are actually only getting 1 slot to come to MSI, okay? And then the top spots for each one of the big regions, the big 4, right? The number 1 seed from North America, EU, Korea, and China, they all get to go into, they get a buy into the bracket stage, basically. And then right now it's going to be the play-in stages. The play-in stages are basically where we get to, sort through everybody. And those are going to be the 2nd seeds and every single other region will be played in there. They got sorted into 2 different groups, 2 different pools, really. And that was basically like just to see who was going to play each other and everything like that. Okay. And I don't think you have what I have up on my screen, who's actually going to be like playing each other and stuff.
Currently, I don't have us up on that, but we'll get to that in a second. Just again, to reiterate, there's going to be 2 stages. The play-in stage happening on May 1st, which is in a week or so, but 7 days? And that's going to be like a play-in playoff where people have to compete to just make it into the tournament. And then after that, on May 7th and May 14th is going to be when the bracket stage, and that's what you already talked about. Currently, the teams competing have to fight to basically play to get a chance to win. Here's a schedule of all of that when that's happening. You could always pause or check this out on the lolesports.com. That's where we're at. Let's see if there's a broadcast schedule where and how you can watch it. Let me scroll back a little bit. So
it's going to be on the schedule.
Yeah. And then I have
the schedule and pick MSI.
Yeah. Just kind of, here's a list of all the different teams, but we're going to go to a more friendly version of that right here. A little bit better on the eyes. We're not getting flashbanged with the light background. I don't know how people do light backgrounds, man. I have to dark mode all day.
It's true. I mean, I do light background on some things, but like it's normally dark. Click standings, actually.
All right, let's go to standings. I'll bring us to a different one.
Yeah, because it'll actually show the bracket if you want to zoom out.
Okay. Yeah, I'll scroll across if we need to. But yeah, so we got FlyQuest, PSG Talon, T1, Estral Esports, and then the other side of this, Fnatic, GAM Esports, Top Esports, and Loud competing in this play-in playoffs, play-ins.
Yeah, so I mean, like this is the biggest problem with these groups, just in general, because these regions both got. Like T1 is a cut above the rest in Group 1 with all of these. Like, so it's literally going to be them winning this group, and then it's arguable, but I will be on this fence. Top Esports is the best team at the tournament.
Okay, so
they're the best team at the tournament, but they're the 2nd seed from China.
Interesting. That's a kind of a notable sort of point out. You're making a strong prediction here that, T1 and Top Esports, I haven't seen them play this year so far since really the beginning of the season. So I'm not really
too certain. You saw that clip I sent you? I
did.
That's a faker. That's T1. Yeah, that's T1. So they're going to win that whole top area and just like there's nobody who can really contest with them.
Ironically,
I'm like wrong.
Ironically, that clip you sent me was Faker getting a 4K, but in a losing game.
Yeah.
So
it was against the 1st seed. So that was the deciding factor. That was the whole match for that one was them see who goes as the top spot. The coolest thing about MSI to actually know right now, right, is that the winner of this gets an automatic entry into Worlds. right?
So a whole half of the season is pretty much like good. They don't have to sweat.
Yeah. So like dope for the top four. It's super cool. But actually, the let's say the bottom regions, right? The other regions who only get one seed that go to MSI, they only get one seed that goes to Worlds too, by the way. But if they win this, their region gets a second seed going to Worlds.
That's kind of cool. Where
so they bring their boys with them.
Right. They basically create more room on the ship. What is it? What is that saying? A rising tide raises all ships, kind of thing. So if they win, they're going to bring an extra team, and I think it's cool.
That's
tournament. What was that again? Like I think. Okay.
I just hope I'm wrong. That that one of these like GAN Esports comes out of nowhere, and just like wins the whole entire thing. It'd be super awesome if they did, because then then you would get to see two from their region. We never get to see like two people from like their region, so or two teams from their region. I think that'd be like the coolest thing if we got like an extra team from one of the regions we don't normally get to see in general. But.
And competitively, it makes sense because you have it's a free spot, right? If you win Worlds, you're kind of getting qualified through a different means, so you shouldn't take the region spot from the season points already. So I think that's fair. I think that makes sense, and it's really cool. So overall, in this play-in situation, you feel T1 is taking it off of this top bracket, pretty straightforward, and that top esports is gonna on the bottom here. Yeah, it's hard to.
I can't say anybody else that would actually like really do anything. Like top esports test is pretty. It's pretty good.
Right, I've heard some noise about FlyQuest just because of the last stage that we watched, but it's hard to disagree with you or argue with you on this point in this schedule. But let's take a look at when and what we're seeing the play happen. Obviously, May 1st, like we said, is going to be the start of this competition. We've got FlyQuest going against PSG Talon, as well as T1 against Estral Esports. Do you want any quick predictions here? FlyQuest over PSG or Estral?
So click on PSG real quick. I just want to be reminded of the players. You should be able to click on it, right?
I am not here, but I think I can from up here.
Let me go over here.
No, I got it. Good. We got Betty, Maple, Azzy, Junjai, Woody, and Hong Suo.
Yeah, so Maple's good, Betty's good. Most likely. They're probably going to beat FlyQuest 3-1. Oh man, my camera's messed up.
Yeah, did you change it, man? Were you screen sharing or anything?
No.
All right, cool. Well, let's get into here while I do some technical difficulty changing here. We're back into it. On the fly technical difficulty managing, but I don't know about I think it's hard to argue, like you said, a T1 and top esports coming out on top here. They're going to get the seat into the actual tournament, and these are just the plans for it. And I want to bring us over into the actual tournament real quick so we can go through that. The prize pool here, first place taking $50K. Percentage here, does that mean the player percentage, what they get, the teams get of that, or what?
Yeah, it's like that's what the 50% is, I guess, of the 250. The 50,000 is 20% of the 25,000 spread. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, okay, yeah, of the total pool. Gotcha. Yeah. And then 40K for second place, 30 for third, and 25 for fourth. We're still seeing some pretty hefty prizes for this MSI tournament, and I think this is the point you were making previously, but I think this is also coming from a more sustainable esport than Overwatch currently. Infancy versus maturity. Almost, but
I mean, MSI makes some good money. It gets some good viewership numbers most of the time. Yeah. Well, this is where we also had what's his face? Oh my God, Mark Cuban, joined League of Legends for a little bit at MSI, right. And he did a little event and everything like that. So you get some interesting things going on.
Right, and I know Rick Fox owned a team in League and an organization in League for a while. I know those are names that have come and gone, and I know it's been more lucrative in the past, and it kind of like we're seeing a bit of a recession overall, but as well as in esports. So it's nice to see this prize pool stay here, and I think this is the sustainability model that's going to lead the way, lead the charge through this. So from 5th place to 8th place, they're still getting a hefty prize pool, 20K or 15K. This is like, I don't want to say it's the Super Bowl equivalent, but I guess it's like getting to the All-Star game. If you're having a tournament and the All-Star game for
I mean, do you remember this is held in China?
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of these teams and orgs are traveling. So, you know, it's pretty hefty to get their people all the way over there, you know. So they should have a little bit of a higher like prize pool just in general.
And it is like a big tournament. They've had to play 6 months to even qualify for this. So getting here should mean something, right? So even last place is going to be getting 7,500. Let's take a look at the participating teams. We've already seen a bit of the play-in teams, but here's the bracket teams. Here's the teams that are guaranteed a spot in the actual playoff tournament. We've got Billy Gaming, which obviously is that big marketplace store brand, the online competitions, online marketplace store owning an esport here. G2, as well as Gen G, and then we just saw Team Liquid take first place in the tournament and claim their guaranteed spot here in the MSI. Anything to note about these 4 teams, these guaranteed teams?
They're all second place compared to TES Esports.
But then why aren't they here, man? Why aren't they here?
Well, like I'm just saying, you know, bad days are bad days. You know what I mean? It wasn't even like a bad game or anything like that. But like, I'm probably gonna put it on TES to win. I think TES is probably gonna win.
Okay.
You know, quote me on it if you want, but like it's gonna be up to them or Gen G. Like I don't think anybody else is really gonna win. Like T1 could have like a really good showing. But like all right, so everybody on here, like all the top teams and everything like that, like. And what I mean by this, Korean teams and the Chinese teams, right? The way that they play is like they're very sound when it comes to like macro and micro, just in general, right? And right now, like T1 has the best decision making in games. Like even in like behind situations and stuff like that, like the decisions that they make at the times that they make them are seemingly incorrect, but lead to correct plays. So they'll go for Baron at the weirdest times at the moment, and it's because like they know exactly how people are like doing their macro and micro, and then they're just making these snap decisions to, all right, we're doing Baron right now. Like we have 35 seconds in order to clear this Baron. We're going to do it right now, and they did that a lot in the finals for South Korea. Okay. So like that's something to like be fearful of. But everybody else is like just strong, solid play the way the game's supposed to be played. It might even be like real boring for a lot of people to watch like the Chinese teams.
I have a question for you though with that, if you don't mind. Is that an individual player skill ability? Is that a experience talent? Like, you know, these players have the experience that they're able to do that? Or is this like that a coaching strategy, a like research and analysis, analytics kind of thing? Are they able to like train their players to look for these things and it's a process, a procedural thing?
So we're talking about Team 1?
No, yeah, like what you're saying, where they're able to watch the micro of each individual player and know when the best time to attack is, when to push this or push that in the macro world because of those micro details.
So they have really knowledgeable, strong players on their team. Like Kyria, Owner, Umiyushi, Baker, and Zeus were like, they're all really strong, knowledgeable players. Baker usually, I don't know if Baker's like the shot caller. I think he's I don't think he usually takes like the shot caller role, which is why like his past junglers, like Bengi, was more of like a shot caller. It feels like the supports are usually like supports and junglers tend to be more of like the shot caller.
Yeah,
and like Kyria Owner are most likely the person on that team. And whereas Gumayushi is a player that kind of like stays back. Like, I don't want to say like stays back, but he's more reactive in his like play style. Zeus is a wild card, and Faker is definitely more reactive. Like his game is to get the small mistakes on his like lane opponent. He's not really like let's crunch this dude down. Let's push him out the game.
But
he's going to push him out with small advantages and stuff like that.
Are you saying that like as an individual, then it's more as an individual that they're able to make that stuff happen, those micro moments and those micro decisions, and then collectively they just gel? Or do you feel like there's a coaching aspect that has kind of pushed them to like, hey, this is our strategy, we need to look for this, and when this happens we do that, and they've been so drilled on it? Because from what it sounds like you're saying like these players, the way they play, it's an individual thing, and they're letting the rest of their team know from an individual, bottom up basically. And it's not like a top down, where it's not saying like a coach is watching them in the middle of the game, but they go back and they review the play, they watch the tape basically, and then like they've learned over time and learned that way. So like for me, it sounds like you're saying it's the former, where it's individual, bottom up, that then communicates across, and not like a drilled teamwork from the coach kind of thing.
It's usually not like a drilled thing, but it would be a situation like if it does come up in VODs, like, you know, at this exact moment, guys, you could have taken this objective, right? Because like a lot of the game is around objectives. Taking objectives matters in League of Legends, right? It's the most important thing that can possibly happen. And in that sense, like there's a problem with like a little bit of like, I guess my explanation of it is because there's so many different little micro things that eventually lead to these situations where they can make these snap decisions. And it doesn't necessarily have to be something that's trained inside of the coaching, like with the coaching.
Okay.
It could just be something that's referenced a couple different times over the course of like years. I mean, Faker has one of the longest tenures in the game.
And for him
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, for like that clip you showed me, for him to pull off that 4K out of nowhere, he knew he could do it, and like he just bombed them basically, and the other team had no idea what happened. But yeah, I get you at that.
Yeah, and some of these other players really haven't like been around for too long, just in general. I mean, Curia is like an extremely good player, but I think he's only been playing since like 2009.
Okay.
And like
only. Like, I mean, it's not
15. 2019.
Okay, yeah, big difference.
Zeus and Curia are both like players from 2019. Let me see, owner. And I think probably about the same thing for him. Yeah, 2021.
Okay. So like they're not necessarily like super tenured, but they have this 10-year experience. They've got this knowledge base that's built soundly, so that they know when to like excel in their role, when to push the gas pedal and when to hit the brakes. That's what it sounds like, and that's cool to see.
Yeah,
and I was gonna say it's gonna make this tournament a lot more fun for me to watch, because I'm a League of Legends noob. I have no idea. I'm iron, right? Like I have no idea what's going on in the game. I'm just trying to survive, and like I do a decent enough job, and I also don't play the game much, so it's not my choice of games when I do get to play. But I could see that, and like I'm super fascinated by that idea of that little thing, and I'm gonna keep my eye on it for that. Is there something else that we should keep our eye on for this tournament with the team specifically? Other teams, perhaps, as we go into the rest of the roster here?
I don't like Fnatic as an organization. That's just me. I'm not even going to talk shit, but like I don't like Fnatic. I hope they lose. Like, get out of here, Europe. I like G2 just in general. I think G2 is awesome. But you know, I'm not sure how well they're going to do, to be honest. Like, I really don't think that they're going to do too well at the moment.
Well, we're not going to get to watch them for a little bit until the back half of this tournament, but, you know, high hopes on that one. I did like how Team Liquid played. but I do feel like that's another one where it's like I don't think they're going to be able to do much here in the bigger stage. But either way, they're here. They're getting a decent prize just by making it to the playoffs, the tournaments, not the play-ins. So here we have Estral Esports, FlyQuest, Fnatic, GM Esports. We've already kind of gone over this. Loud, PSG Talent, T1, and Top Esports. And your picks here, it's going to be a battle between T1 and Top Esports, mostly probably Top Esports winning, you said?
Yeah, like I think Top Esports is probably is arguably the best team in the tournament.
All right. Who do you think is the first one that's going to get knocked out? If we take a look at the schedule here, obviously the first people who are playing are being most likely to get knocked out, but you think it's going to be one of these 4, these 8? Bring it to the bracket here. Because it's one loss and you're out, right? There's no loser bracket for this play-in.
No, there's loser bracket. That's why I said like if you zoom out, see that round 2 thing?
Oh, the round 2 down here.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. So there is a loser. It's a double loss elimination tournament style. I thought this was just like the continuation out of it.
Yeah, because at 2, 4, 6, 8, at the end of this, there has to be 4 teams that come out of the play-ins.
Okay. So with that, we're not going to see a loser until the 2nd or 3rd day. Totally. Or loser, I mean a knockout until the 2nd or 3rd day. I believe 2nd day is going to be how it works. Which of these teams do you see getting knocked out first? We go back into our schedule here.
It's absolutely mean. I think PSG will probably end up beating FlyQuest. Okay. I don't think FlyQuest is going to do good. So I'm assuming, like, and this is super disrespectful of me as like a North American, I'm going to assume that FlyQuest is getting knocked out. And so they would be facing, I think FlyQuest is going to be facing Estral Esports. I'm not sure, like, so
the knockout game is going to happen on Friday. No, it would happen on Friday the 3rd. And yeah. Who do you think it's going to be? A little bit of a shot in the dark here, but
I would assume it's going to be PSG is going to go there. T1's going to win. So it's going to be T1 versus PSG. T1's going to win that. So then PSG is going to go to the round 3 person over
here. You're doing math, man. Give me an answer.
Hold on a second. You're doing math. Hold on a second. I'm doing it properly. So I think Estral Esports is going to be the first team eliminated. The second team eliminated is going to be FlyQuest in group 1. Okay. And then for the other ones, I'm gonna say Gamma is going to beat them. Top is going to beat them. Top's going to go to here.
You're doing math again, man. I want you to give me an answer.
I'd say Loud gets eliminated first. Fnatic gets eliminated second. And GAM and Top Esports move on in this bracket.
Okay. All right.
And I like, as I said, I have no faith in FlyQuest. So
I'm going to put my money behind Fnatic getting knocked out first. I have no reasoning behind it. It's salt. I'm throwing some spice into this mix, and I just like to see that happen. You know, do this a little prop bet, see what's going on, and because we like we said, we kind of expect Top Esports and T1 to come out of this, and I think if you're going to have the longest run in the lower bracket, you're going to have the most likely chance to get knocked out. So I think Loud's going to have a hard time, but I think Loud is going to take it over a Fnatic, but. We'll see. We have May 1st coming up is when the tournament starts. That's the start of all our excitement here. See if our predictions are correct. If we're wrong, probably going to be wrong, but it'll be a lot of fun to watch. I'm going to be looking out for those things that you told me, Nick, especially when we're taking a look at, what was it, Top Esports and how the play's happening? Or was that T1? I believe it was.
That's T1 is the snap decision makers.
Yeah, so especially looking at T1 and how they're making those decisions in game, in play. Their first match coming up this May 1st. But yeah, anyway, any little loose ends you want to tie up here? Any bows you want to put onto the MSI before we move on to the final topic?
No, not really for the most part. Like I wish that they did a little bit more for like the viewership. Kind of like what we saw with Plunderstorm when it was like the bounties and stuff like that. Like I would really prefer some really cool things that the viewers can like hope for or look for that were told to them in like the beginning, like little, like a bingo card.
Gotcha.
Like I don't understand like why we don't do like a bingo card in these things. Like they're very successful. They're super fun for a person to join along in general and everything like that. And but
yeah, a very interesting form of engagement in the age of the internet. I'd like to see more sports do that. I know Twitch has been airing NFL games, and it's been a lot of fun to watch those because a lot of the prompts that come up of overlays where you can like, hey, is this drive going to result in a punt? Is it going to result in a touchdown? This next play, is it going to be it feels a little dangerous because as somebody who formerly worked in the online casino area, it felt very similar to that in the prop bets and sports betting, everything. Which can be fun, but then like we talk about, it could be dangerous. So I'd like to see that too. Like you said, a little more engagement on the community, a little more fun aspects of like, hey, bingo card. We saw 5K, a team wipe. We get like a star, and if we get 4 stars in a row or 5 stars total, we get a prize kind of thing. More investment in that aspect, but. If that's all, I think we'd love to see it. Get right on that. It'd be really appreciated. But we're going to leave that there for now.